Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel, dbooknerd. If you are already subscribed and have been watching, welcome back. If you are new to this channel, please don't be a stranger. You're only a stranger once. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and you hit notifications so that you know when I have a new video that is uploaded. My name is Denise, and today what I'm going to be sharing is my top books for the year. So what I've read so far this year. I have 4 books that have been my favorite, that are my top books, that I want to share with you and talk about just a little bit. So, first of all, I haven't been reading like a whole lot this year, but I've been reading good books, so that's a good thing. So it's not like I have had so many to choose from, but these were the ones that really stood out to me and have really stayed on my mind, and so I just wanted to share these with you. So the first one I'm going to start with is The American Queen, and this book is by, let me just make sure, Vanessa Miller. And you've heard me talk a lot about this book. It is a historical fiction book. And Vanessa Miller is this awesome author that I am deeming one of my favorites now, because I've read several of her books and I'm loving them. But she's also has a lot of faith-based or Christian based books. So there's always a theme of, like redemption or love or forgiveness or something like that in the books. However, this has the same thing, but this is a historical fiction book. It's based off of a true story. She did research on a person in history that was kind of a hidden figure. So the name of the woman, the main character, the American Queen, is Luella, and she ended up being called Queen Luella because she became the queen of a group of Black people or African Americans that moved from one part of the South when they were on plantations and were enslaved, to another part of the South where they were no longer enslaved because of the Emancipation Proclamation. And she always dreamed of having her own land and Black people being free and running their own thing, and that came to fruition. And this story tells the tale of that, from them going from enslaved, their journey to the other land, and then creating this land and all the ups and downs that go with it. This is an excellent book. I don't know if I knew how much of an impact it had on me, but when I was thinking about, okay, what have been my favorite books for the year, this one came to mind. And great writing and just an excellent story, and just to know that this is true makes it even more excellent, and it's just very inspiring, very uplifting. There are hard parts to it because it does, talk a lot about racism, enslavement, and all of that. But I highly suggest you read this book. If you would like to know more about the history of our country and the perseverance and victories and things that Black people have, and have overcome so much, I think that you'll really appreciate this. And then you're going to also, in this book, you're going to see, there were some allies as well. So great book to pick up. The next book, and I'm kind of doing this in order. I might change another day, and then something else might be the top, the top book or whatever. But right now, if I were to say in this top 4 that I'm sharing with you, American Queen would be number 4. With number 3 being The Housemade by no other than Freida McFadden. So I'm sure all of you know about Freida McFadden. You know about The Housemaid. This is probably one of her most popular books and the biggest book that she has written, even though all of them are, just jumping off the shelves, it seems. But this one was one of the most popular, and I read this one, and I did like it. I loved it. And I can see why people like this book or love it so much. I can see why they like Freida McFadden's writing, and I enjoyed this. It's about Nina Winchester, and she hires a maid. The maid is named Millie, and Millie has kind of a secret past. Well, Millie has been in prison, and so Millie gets out of prison, looking for work. Not easy to find work when you have a record, and so she becomes a maid for this prestigious family, or a family that's pretty wealthy, and Nina's looking all impeccable and comes off as somebody that is, making sure that Millie does everything impeccably, but then things kind of get unhinged. So Nina starts changing a little bit of appearance. Nina's doing erratic things. I'm not even going to go into all that. I have a whole video about the Housemaid in my review and discussion that does have spoilers. But things start just being just really crazy. But with the Frida McFadden book, it's never as it seems. This even includes, for those that haven't read the book, a little spooky daughter that's acting off the hinge as well. So, and then there's a husband that, is loving and doting and all of that. But, what's really going on in this house? Millie finds out, and then you even find out a little bit about Millie in this book. So for those that you haven't read this book, that's your teaser. If you like thrillers, pick this up. For those that have read it, you already know. So great book, easy to read, love the writing. So on that same note, I also read this year The Housemade Secret. And again, this is Frida McFadden. It's a thriller. This is the second book, the sequel to The Housemaid. And this is number 2 in my lineup. So at first when I was reading this, I'm like, I don't like this one as much as The Housemaid. As I kept reading it, just when you think Frida McFadden can't get any better, she does. And I was reading this, I'm like, I don't know how anybody thinks of this. I don't know how you can make so many twists and turns, how you can keep that in your head and, just and make it all come together. It's like, you kind of see how it all came together in the end. That's just genius. She has a gift and a talent for this. I love her writing. It's simple to read. It's easy. And the way she makes the chapters short makes it, you go through it fast, but also everything makes you want more. You want to know why, you want to know who, want to know when, then you're trying to put it together. So you just have to keep reading. So her books are hard to put down, and I love that. So The Housemade Secret, what is it about? Just to give you a little bit of a teaser, this one is Millie is working for a family, and I can't even remember the names already. I'm not good with names anyway. But it's the Garricks, and there's a husband and a wife. However, the wife is always up in a room, locked in the room. So the husband's the one that hires Millie. The husband is the one that is telling her what she needs to do. There's all these strange things, the certain foods you have to buy and where you buy them from. Like she has to go to like several different grocery stores to buy this food that I've never heard of, like this imported, weird stuff, or it's weird to me. And anyway, he starts acting a little different. She's concerned about the wife that's locked in the room. She keeps trying to talk to the wife. He's always like, don't bother her. She's sick. The wife acts like she doesn't want to be bothered either. And then Millie discovers why. So in the meantime, there's stuff going on with Millie as well. So she's being watched, or she feels that she's being watched. And so you just have kind of a lot of stuff going on. And at first I thought I didn't like it because we're also seeing Millie in a relationship. And I feel like, oh God, we're going too much into her relationship, and I'm not interested in that. That's important in the book without trying to give anything away. Everything with Frida McFadden is for a reason, and it falls in line. This one was a twister and a turner like none other. And so it did just by a smidgen, it beat The Housemaid. And this was my number 2 so far book of the year. So last but not least is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is my favorite book, and I know I kind of shared I did a whole review and discussion on this, and it does have spoilers. But I know I kind of, say things that I don't like about the book. But overall, like I say, just because of my personal opinions, I might not have given it a 5-star, but this is absolutely a 5-star book. And this book just sticks with me. Like, I remember things in this book. I remember the characters. The characters feel real. So this book is a romance, and it's like a contemporary romance, women's fiction, if you will. Excuse me. And it shares some really hard things that go on in relationships. And so it talks about a couple that were married and then they divorced. It goes through what they went through with their children. It tells how the divorce took place. And not only does it tell how the divorce took place, it just really goes into how people's experiences and things affect them in relationships and how they handle conflict and when bad things happen in life. Just an excellent book, and the main characters are Yasmin and Josiah, and it just does a great job of how hard love can be, but how things can be overcome, but it might not be in the way that you think. It might not be in the time that you think. It shows how things affect children, all of that. Excellent writing. I mean, you want to cry, you want to laugh, you want to throw the book, you want to yell at the people, you want to encourage the people. The supporting characters are excellent as well, as we all know. There's a sequel to this in which I need to get that book because it's going to talk about one of Yasmin's friends, and then her life and all of that. So you get to see more about the other characters, and the extra characters or side characters are excellent as well. Just a very well written book. I love everything about it. I love it from the cover. I love the title. I love the writing. Excellent writing. I mean, just like the others, these authors are very gifted and talented. Just a great love story. So if you want a great love story, you don't mind your heart being pricked and torn apart a little bit, then brought back together, this is the love story for you. It is not a rom-com, but it's just so good, just so good. So this is my #1 book so far this year. And that's all I have for today. I just want to kind of give you an update. I've read the books, I've shared what I've read, but now I want to share what books have really stood out to me and stayed with me so far this year. I know there's going to be many more books that I read this year that are going to stay with me and that I'm going to love. They might knock these books out of the way. They might not. I don't know. But please let me know, what books have you read this year that you deem your favorite, or book that you deem your favorite so far. And we're not that far in the year. I mean, it's going faster than I anticipated, but we're not that far in the year, not even halfway yet. But still, just kind of like to examine what have we liked so far. So share that with me. And if you have any suggestions for books that I can read that, based on these, that you think you would like that too, let me know in the comments so that I can get those books and read them and talk about them and share as well. With that said, please be blessed and be book nerdy.